Hey y'all, welcome back to Preparedness the Truth. Welcome to the kitchen. In this video, we're going to be making a requested video by one of my wonderful subscribers that has been asking for homemade rolls recipe. So this is going to be a homemade yeast roll recipe that I have been doing for years now. I have my little assistant right here. She's going to help me out with it. If you don't know who this is, it's my daughter Faith, my oldest one. She's going to be helping me in the kitchen today, so we're going to show you exactly how to do these. It's very easy, very simple, does not take a whole lot of ingredients, and the most time that it is going to take you will be nothing more than just letting it rise. So if you're looking for something that is very tasty and inexpensive to make, this would definitely be it. It also freezes well, so this is going to make a pretty good batch. Depending on the size of how big or how small you make your rolls, on how many you get out of it, but it's going to make a pretty good bit. So we're also going to freeze some of those, and you can just take them straight out of the freezer bag, put them in the oven, let them heat up, and you don't even have to throw them out before you cook them. So if you need something for your dinner and you don't have a chance to run to the store, or you just don't want the store-bought ones, this is a really good recipe. So if you're new to this channel, please click that subscribe button down below. Be sure to tap the notification bell beside it so that you'll be notified when I upload new videos. And as always, if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to share. So let's get started. Now first off, what you're going to need is 6 cups of bread flour. And you're going to divide this up 3 cups to start with. And then you're going to slowly be adding in the rest of it as you was to knead it later on in the recipe. So 6 cups of bread flour, 1 large egg, 1/4 cup of butter, 5 teaspoons of yeast, 2 teaspoons of salt, 1/4 cup of shortening, 1/2 cup of sugar, plus 2 tablespoons. This is just to be added into your yeast to help your yeast rise. 1.5 cups of milk and 1/2 cup of warm water. And when I say warm water, make sure that it's not too hot or not too cold, because either it will not activate your yeast or it will be too hot and it will kill your yeast. So let me get the camera set up right here for you so that you can see what I'm actually doing.
And if you're wondering what she's looking down at, she has got a recipe.
Yep, that's my recipe down here with all of it so that I can give you your ingredients. So let's get this started. Alright y'all, here's what we're going to do. I've got a pan on top of the stove right now that is starting to heat up. And what I have put in it is my 1.5 cups of milk, my 1/2 cup of sugar, 1/4 cup of shortening, 2 teaspoons of salt, and 1/4 cup of butter. And I'm going to let this start warming up to about 105, 115. You don't have to actually melt the shortening all the way. You don't have to make it boil or anything like that. You just want to raise the temperature up so you're not using cold ingredients to add into the yeast mixture. So while that is heating up, I've got my water right here, the 1/2 cup of warm water, and I'm going to add in the 5 teaspoons of yeast so that that can go ahead and start its process. And this is 1/2 teaspoons. So 5 teaspoons of that, and I'm also going to add in the 2 tablespoons of sugar. And what this is going to do is it's going to help to activate this yeast, because you don't want to be using yeast that's not working, because that's going to mess your whole recipe up. So I'm going to mix that up, and I'm just going to set it off to the side. And that will actually start to froth up and go to work. So while that is here, starting its process, and this is heating up and getting up to room temperature right here, I'm going to go ahead in this really big mixing bowl and start measuring out my bread flour. Now, I'm just using the White Lily bread flour. This is a 1/2 cup measuring. So I need to get out 3 cups to start with. And the remaining 3 cups that this recipe calls for, you will add it later as you start seeing how much more you might need and might not need to make this into a soft dough when you're mixing. So start off with the 3 cups right here. Once all this gets heated up and we add it into it and we start mixing, we will see how much more of the rest of it that we have to add. So once all this stuff gets heated, I will come back and show you how I mix it all up. Alright, y'all. This is heated up, so it is ready to go. And let me show you this yeast mixture right here. You can see how much it is frothy and bubbly now. So that means that it is good yeast and it is activated, so we will be using that. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to pour in this liquid. And I'm going to start mixing it. And you can see that it's definitely not going to be enough liquid to do it. So we're going to be adding in the yeast. And we are also slowly putting in this egg. We're going to put it off to the edge right here. You don't want to put it directly in the hot liquid mixture. You want to put it off to the side and kind of incorporate it in, because you definitely don't want any scrambled eggs in this mixture. So I'm just going to mix that up just a little bit right there. I'm going to put my yeast in here. And we're going to start mixing that in. Now this can be hard to mix to start with. So once we get this added in here, it's going to be way too moist. But we're going to mix it up and try to get it smooth some to start with before we start adding in the last few cups of flour. Alright, let me help you out here some, because it gets hard once it gets
more drier and more wetter some.
The more you do it, the more it mixes in. And the easier it gets. There for a minute, it'll be hard. Okay, we're going to start, since we've mixed it all in and everything in this bowl is currently wet, but we know it's way too moist for the dough, we're going to start adding in a little bit of flour at a time. So this is a 1/2 cup, but I'm just going to start sprinkling it in about a 1/4 cup at a time and mixing it. This recipe, once you get used to doing it, there's nothing to it. It's very easy to do, and it tastes very good. What I do is, once I do this and I cook it, then I add a little bit of butter to the top of them once they are done cooking. Only to the ones that I'm not going to freeze. Now, if I'm going to freeze them, I don't add the butter to the top of them once they're done cooking. I just let them cool down and then I put them in the freezer. But the ones that we're going to eat without freezing, I just put some butter on the top and they're extremely, extremely good. So there's another 1/2 cup of flour added in. We're going to see if we can get this stirred in. If she can't do it, I'll help her out. This is where it gets to where you need a little bit of arm muscle.
It's trying to stick to it.
Yeah. You definitely want to get it off of the sides of your bowl. So I just take it and do it in a way like this. And then make sure to get down to the bottom. Because if you don't, you will leave big clumps of flour down at the base of your bowl. But as it starts to do this, you want to do the dough in a way that it is kind of sticky, but not really, really sticky. So that's how you will learn when your dough does have enough flour. And as we get to this part right here, I'm going to start adding in less flour at a time. That way I don't end up with too much.
Gotta scrape it from the bottom good.
Mm-hmm. And what we're going to do, once we get this mix to the consistency that I want, we're going to take it, and I've already heated my oven up just a small little bit. You don't want to heat it much, but I got it warm inside my oven because I'm just going to take this bowl and I'm going to set it inside that oven and let it rise in there.
Can you do that, son?
I will do it. And then once it rises and it doubles in size, I'm going to get it back out and we're going to form it. And then once we form it into the rolls, we will once again put it back into rise. And then they will be ready to cook once they double in size once again. So I will show you all of those steps as we go through them. So this is starting to look like what we want. It is sticky, but I can get it off of it. I can easily roll it and it peels off the side of the bowl. Everything is nicely mixed in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this mixture right here and I'm going to put it in the oven and I'm going to let it rise. I'm just going to let it set where it's warm. Now if you have a warm area in your house, such as in the wintertime, when we have the wood heater running, I will take it and set it in the same room that the wood heater's in, the warmest area of my house, and just cover it with a towel and let it rise right there. Or top of your refrigerator, some people have to put it up there. It's not warm enough to me on top of the refrigerator in our house, but every house is different. So you need it in a good warm area so that it can rise, because if it cools down too much, it won't rise properly. So once this gets done, I will come back and let you see me roll it out, make it into dinner rolls. Alright, y'all. Just got these out of the warm oven for rising, and you can see how much bigger it has gotten. A lot bigger. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flour this area right here, and we're going to roll these out and make dinner rolls out of it, and then we will let them rise again. So Faith has went ahead and took a stick of butter and buttered up the pans really, really good so that they won't stick to the bottom of them when they cook. So all I'm going to do is to get to the messy part. Roll this out. Make sure...
We did have tinsel for that too if you wanted it.
That's okay, because then I'll make a big mess with it. Get some flour on your hands so that it doesn't get stuck to you right off the get-go. And just get it out. I'm going to start kneading this for a little bit. Like that.
It's all on your spoon.
Yeah, it does that.
Part of the sticking.
So we're just going to take it and fold it and knead it. Because this is what's going to make it really airy and light and good. This can take just a few minutes. You don't have to do it for a long time. And you can see that it's just the right consistency, because even though it's a little bit sticky, it's not sticking to me where I'm getting it all over my hands and where I can't get it off. So once we knead this, I'm going to show you how I make this into rolls. So if you wanted to use this exact same recipe also for hamburger buns, just make it bigger is what you're going to do. but I'm going to make all these for dinner rolls. Alright, so I'm just going to take a corner here in between my fingers. I'm just going to pinch that apart. And I'm going to take it, and that part that I pinched apart, I'm just going to start rolling it and more or less tucking it under it to make it into a little ball. You just have to get used to doing this. But you can see I'm not going to make them real big, since it's just the dinner rolls. And if it starts sticking to you, just get you a little bit of flour on your hands. And it'll stop that. But to make them pretty, I just tuck all that underneath it, and then you will never know where they got pulled apart. And you're just going to repeat this till you get a whole bunch of them made. And how many this makes, just like I was saying earlier in the video, depends on what size you do right here. After you do this enough and you make enough of them, there won't be much to it. You'll know exactly how to do it. Should I get you one?
Mm-hmm.
You can make them just a little bit bigger. And if you tear off a piece that's not the size you want, you can always tear another piece. Take it in with it too. Just fold it and roll it. Don't get too much flour on it though, because if you get, like she's getting a little bit of extra flour on it, if you do this and you get too much flour on it, you're going to knead it a little bit more. See how I'm pulling it? Push. And then that will help incorporate it so that it's not really doughy. There you go. So now you're tucking it under.
Or it's a little on top.
And that keeps the air in it. Keeps them fluffy. Alright, so we're going to get a bunch of these done, y'all. And once we get these two pans filled up, I will come back and show you what they look like before we put them in the oven to rise. So stay tuned. Alright, y'all. Here is what we got. We've got this pan right here. And then also Faith's been helping me. And she's got her pan right here. So these are Faith's. And she's helped put these together. So what I'm going to do right now, these are not done and ready to cook yet. We're going to put them back in the warm oven. Keep them warm for a little while. Let them double in size. And then we will bake them. So I'll show them to you in just a minute when they have doubled in size again. Alright, y'all. As you can see, I have got them out now. They have doubled in size. So what I'm fixing to do now is I will put them in the oven at 350 degrees and start watching them at around 10 to 12 minutes. That way that you don't burn the bottoms or burn the tops, but yet you get the insides done. So 10 to 20 minutes is how long these are going to take to cook. So when they get done, I will take them out and I will show you what they look like. So stay tuned to see the final product. Alright, y'all, here is these rolls finished, and they turned out good. I don't have a taste tester that's tasted them yet, but they look good. You want to taste test and tell me how they taste?
I'm going to wait till they cool off.
You going to wait till they cool off? Alright. I know there ain't going to be no problem with them on the taste, though, because it's the same recipe that I have used for years now, so. And I am happy, too, because this is Faith's first time actually forming her a bunch of rolls and putting them in here. She usually just helps me mix, so we've got some beautiful rolls here that she's done. So these are going to be good for supper night. So there it is. I will leave you the recipe down in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching this video. Until next time, stay safe, God bless you, and keep prepping.